All right. Shalom Yashala. Call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. Waha Rakah Kodash Brakathum. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the select number of Vakyam, pushing this truth and sincerity in four corners of the round earth. And salutations to the select number of Akwat that they're listening. What I'd like to get into is just, being, just really trusting in the Lord, man. That's really all we can do in these times. I know we get anxious and be ready to act on our own accord, which isn't always, the best result. And guess what? And I'm not even talking from a standpoint of being fleshly per se, because like Elder Ariala, always says, the Lord, the Lord ain't gonna operate with no parked car. More so, you gotta, you gotta put in. You know what I'm saying? In order for the Most High to move on your behalf, hey, you gotta be trusting in Yahweh Bashim Yashai. You gotta show things that show your trust, your trusting of your power, your true power, Yahweh Bashim Yashai. Now granted, there are like I said, there are moments, hey, you gotta, hey, let's go. Be proactive in this truth, in this ministry. But, don't be always so, don't be too hasty, man. So I wanna get so like if you bear me right quick. Okay, here we go. This is Psalms chapter 27, verse 14. Wait on Yahweh, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on Yahweh. Okay? So by you waiting on Yahweh to make moves, our Heavenly Father, that's really the go-to, that's the go-to, because once you start thinking that you could change the outcome of, like, bro, you can only control what you could control. That's the Most High's job, bro. And he states that. That's why it states that here. Let me read that again. Verse 14. Wait on Yahweh, be of good courage. Okay? As a matter of fact, I want to get that in the, if you could bear me, Baba Koshai. I want to get that in courage in a biblical definition. Salaki. And I believe in the Lashon Kodash is Kazak, and it's to be strong, firm, or resolute. Okay. And that resolute is what? Being 10 toes down, firm. Standing on, your belief of Yahweh Bashim Yasha. You really gotta believe that the Lord is gonna deliver you, man. You gotta believe the Lord is gonna fight on you and fight for us on our behalf, man. The Lord got us, man. Don't ever get in the spirit of being impatient. Okay? Because when you start being impatient, it's like that's when you try to take something that's like the test and and this journey that we're on, like, bro, you can't operate from that space. You start operating from that space, and you'll see, like, hey, bro, do what you're supposed to do as an Israelite and a believer of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. The Lord gonna take care of you. Okay, so that good courage is what, just being firm, man. Okay, it's just standing 10 toes down, like, man, I believe the Lord gonna deliver me out this situation. And guess what? I'm a product of that. The apostles, bishops, and elders are products of that, man. You really gotta believe, And guess what? It's not always gonna be on your time, and either. Okay? I can attest to that with, okay, like like Elder Mike Allah always says, man, you can't take the approach of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua as a genie in a bottle. That ain't what that is, man. The Lord's gonna see what's fit for you, man. It's just like if a brother like wants to be in a better position in life, could the Lord bless a brother millions? Of course. But really, should that be your should be on your mind like that? Like, of course you want to better your situation. You want to help the body. We get that. But man, if that was the case, man, that would be what? More reason for Jake to start lacking. Some Jake ain't even making over 100,000 or over 100,000. Some Jake gets distracted with particular things. That's why the Lord knows what to bless you with, man. Rather than you going out your way and stressing yourself, when you should be more so what? Dependent on Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Okay, this is Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. Oh, Salakia, verse 29, Salakia. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Okay. Now granted, some instances where the Lord is gonna have you deal with what? Long suffering, and your patience is gonna be tested. I've jumped the gun a few times, which there hasn't been a brother who hasn't. Like, oh damn, man, I should just sit. You know what I'm saying? You can't be impatient in this thing, man, and really impatient in life, man. There's too many examples just in the world of, man, if I only would have listened. That only if I would have listened, and that can definitely, that can definitely hinder progress because you thought you had it. Okay, I'll continue reading verse 30. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Okay, because even if you're fervent and I got this, and this and that, bro, the Lord dictates everything. When it's time to move, it's time to move. When it's time to sit your ass down, it's time to sit your ass down. Matter of fact, I'm not just dry talking, right? If you could bear me, Baba Kusha. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Okay, so that really just sums it up, man. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. I'll continue reading. Verse 2, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. Okay? And I might as well continue reading. Verse 6, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. In other words, it's all about timing. Okay, it is all about timing, man. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashimi Ashak Yam, and Akwat out there, don't because as the saying goes, don't get tricked out of your position, man. Don't get tricked out of your position because you think I got this. We gotta move with salt. Especially in the current climate we're in. You can't just fly off the handle. I'ma do this and that. Do what's needed, do what's necessary, but just understand how to read the room, man. Jake. If Jake's not careful, what do they usually do? They mess around and dig their own grave, pretty much, man. And that's what we're not here for. We're of the living power. We're not we're in the congregation of the living, not the congregation of the dead, man. So you got to make moves that's not gonna be a hindrance to you or the body, right? Trying to progress through the spirit, not decline or digress or what have you. I believe I was in Isaiah Salaki. This is back in Isaiah chapter 40 verse 30. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Verse 31. But they that wait upon Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with the wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. The Lord's going to give us the strength that's needed, man. So don't be, so quick to, fly off the handle, and that's something me personally, I've had to deal with while being in this truth, just be patient, bro. Okay. That's all you can do, man, is to truly be patient. Okay. Let me see. Bear me, Baba Kosha. This is this is Psalms chapter 37 verse 7. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Okay. That's very straight to the point, man. Okay. You see, it's kind of like the talking points of how people view social media now. People feel they're not enough due to the dynamics and the algorithm of social media, only to come to find out, man, damn near everybody on there through, man. Everybody's on there through. With much so of an illusion, man. You get caught under the illusion and delusion, bro. You gonna get lost in the sauce, man. Because you see, you thinking what you're seeing is, man, this and that, this and that. Don't get in that mindset of the heathen, man. Learn not the way of thy heathen. Okay. And that and they're worrying about, of what other people have, man. Be grateful for what you have. Yeah, this life is frustrating. This captivity is hell. But don't get caught off. Don't get caught in your emotions, man. Because it's so easy to get caught up in the flesh. Like, bro, the Lord done brought us this far. When has the Lord not answered your prayer? I put it to you like that. The Lord ain't never slack on prayers I've asked for, to be honest. It's all in timing. It is all in timing. Okay. Let me see. Let me get second song. Oh, I'm setting Psalm 46 and 10. Okay, verse 11 as well. This is Psalms chapter 46 verse 10. Be still and know that I am the Most High. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Verse 11. Yahweh of hosts is with us. The power of Jacob is our refuge. Salah. Okay. Yahweh Shem Yahshua is our refuge. So there's nothing to be uptight and impatient about. Okay. It's not the Lord cooking right now. The Lord's been cooking since, hell, before we got in the truth. We wanted to know what was going on for this very reasoning. Like, man, why is this, why are people like this? Or, man, why the world like this? Now we know. Now we understand the rules of engagement in Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, man. So let the Most High cook. The Most High got this. He knows what he's doing. Prophecy is, prophecy is just all right without, being caught up in this flesh, man. The Lord, this is all on the Lord's timing, and as long as that's understood, and as long as that's remembered and really ingrained, in you, to really like lock in, like, bro, the Lord got this, bro. The Lord got you. Okay. But that's all I had on this. And Abaratazah, this is edifying for the body. So with that, once again, call halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Waha Rakakwadash Brakathum. Once again, I'd like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the select number of Achaeon pushing his truth and sincerity in four corners of the round earth. And salutations to the select number of Aquat that they're listening. Shalom.